All right. We are live on YouTube. Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. Glad you could all join me here today for another great show. I've got a great topic to discuss here tonight. I've got three wonderful, amazing Reddit stories to dissect here once again. I'm also going to be sharing some brief channel updates at the beginning of the show. So if you're watching this live or right around the time where it was released on, what is today? It's Thursday, February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day. You're going to want to listen to these updates. If you're watching this down the road, you may want to skip the first part of the updates. They're going to be long, irrelevant by that point. But the rest of the show will be evergreen content. But before we get to all that, first of all, let me make sure that everything is rolling smoothly. Let me check out the back end of YouTube. And the back end of YouTube is rolling well. Let me also make sure that the YouTube notification has gone out. Looks like it has. And let me do a sound check. Great show. I've got a great topic to discuss here tonight. I've got three wonderful... All right, all is well. I'm going to get right to it because I only plan on being on here for an hour or maybe an hour and 15 minutes max. I've got to get some rest. This has been another busy week, taking care of things outside of YouTube with my girlfriend Dawn and her doctor's appointments and other stuff that I'm handling with my family. So it's just been a challenge to get some content done, but here I am. Here I am at 5:33 a.m. Pacific time, which is 8:33 a.m. Eastern time. Good morning to everybody. Good morning if you're here live, and good day to you if you're watching this on the replay. The topic of tonight's show, God, it still feels like night. The topic of today's show is facing regret, social awkwardness, and attraction excuses, plus other updates. One more time. The topic is facing regret, social awkwardness, and attraction excuses, plus other updates. Thank you so much to the 6 people that are already here. Let's just briefly mention the channel updates, the other updates. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and Dawn and I originally, my girlfriend Dawn and I originally had planned to do a subscribers only, wide open, chat, Valentine's Day special. And we just ran out of time with the things that we had to do. And, Dawn was very exhausted, and so was I. So we just had to, catch up on some rest. So I apologize that there was no content done yesterday. We were saying more than likely we were going to do a show the other day on my walk on the other channel, Coach Eli 2 Authentic Live Streams, and it just didn't happen. So we want to apologize to you and let you know that hopefully sometime this weekend, Friday or Saturday night, Dawn and I will do a stream together, and we will make this one a public chat, subscribers only chat, just like I've been doing here on the main channel, Coach Eli, Elias, Melas. And again, that should hopefully happen either tomorrow night, Friday night, or on Saturday night. So if you're watching this live or right around the time that this was released on Thursday, February 15th, 2024, hopefully we'll get a show done for you sometime over this weekend. Now, tomorrow or later today, it's already today, later today, I've got a bunch of things to help Dawn with, but in between, I'm hoping to have some time to do a Walking with Purpose stream. That should hopefully happen around 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. If I check out the weather report, it's been raining again here in the San Francisco Bay Area where I live, but not as bad as the last storm. And I'm looking at the hourly weather report right now, and it looks like it's not going to rain today. So I think we should be good. So more than likely, later today on the other channel, Coach Eli 2 Authentic Live Streams. I'm going to be doing a Walking with Purpose stream right around 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time. If you have not already subscribed to the other channel, Coach Eli 2 Authentic Live Streams, please go below in the description. The link is there a couple lines down. It's youtube.com/Coach Eli 2. That's youtube.com/Coach Eli 2 or at Coach Eli 2. And that is that. You know, all I'm going to say is this, is that the obsession with one person is just so real. He's waiting by his phone to get that notification for me to go live so he can live view bot me. And sir, that does not affect the channel one bit. And it just goes to show how much more pathetic and miserable of a human being that you are. I was thinking about, should I even mention it? I don't really care anymore. We're just going to call the stupidity of people out in the most professional and respectful ways possible. But yeah, continue to, waste your time, money, or a combination of both, waiting for me to go live to live view bot me. Wow. That's the most mature thing a grown-ass man in his 40s can do, right? Well, anyway, enough of that. So not much else to update you folks on. All is well between Don and I and our families, as best as possible. And, we're hoping to be able to put out more content very soon. We've just had an excessive amount of appointments to get to for Dawn over the past couple of weeks. She's got her ankle that she's dealing with, which is getting better. She is able to walk a lot better, but the doctors are still limiting the, amount of time she can, put weight on that foot. But she is getting better, and, soon she's going to have another surgery to remove the metal, the metal plates, rods, etc., whatever was put in there to help it heal over 3 months ago, almost 4 months ago, when the injury happened. So that is that. Now, for some reason, YouTube didn't put in the chat that this is a subscribers only chat. I don't know why. I mean, let me actually check out. Give me a second here. Let me check out the mobile version. It does say at the bottom, subscribers only mode. Messages that appear are from people who subscribe to this channel. So subscribe, and you'll be able to chat right away. There is no waiting period, as long as you're not blocked. And, if you don't follow the rules, no trolling, no hating, no attacking, then we'll just remove you instantly. All right, let's get to the actual show here. I have 3 very interesting Reddit postings to go over today regarding regret, social awkwardness, and attraction excuses, all in the same order. So I'm going to go ahead and switch on over to the browser screen here. Give me a second here. And get to the first one. And the first posting is from the subreddit r/find a path. And the original poster's title is, I regret not doing things when I was young. One more time. I regret doing things when I was young. Now, I thought this was pretty interesting because as a lot of us age, we tend to realize that had we done certain things at a younger age, such as in our preteens, our teens, and our early to mid-20s, or even up until our late 20s, we would have gotten all that out of our system and certain things wouldn't be affecting us as, we've gotten older, right? I, wish I would have known back then what I know now, but technology was not where it's at today. For me to have gone on the internet to, find all this information about self-help and personal development and, how to become the best version of myself. And that's one of the main reasons why I do the coaching thing nowadays, because I want to help both men and women, learn, what I didn't know back then. So basically, I want to help teach people to better their lives personally and professionally, in their late teens and early to mid 20s, because I wasn't as well versed back then as I am today. And with the amount of information on the internet and the way we're able to easily reach people, that's why I do what I do. And what really inspired me when I saw this posting, what really inspired me to dissect it was the fact that, Dawn has shared her story on this. Dawn got pregnant at age 19, and, she wanted to wait a little bit longer, but she ended up getting pregnant at age 19 and got married young and was not able to experience being a teenager, being someone in their early to mid 20s that can go out, have a good time, get through your party stage like most of us go through, get that fun out of your system. And then, by the time you're in your mid to late 20s, you're ready to settle down, get married, have a family, yada, 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 right? And so, what's ended up happening to Dawn, and she's talked about this, and this has happened to many people, probably including this poster here, is that, you had to make a shift in your younger days, which didn't allow you to get all that stuff out of your system. So now, Dawn got married, had kids, went through a divorce, and then was trying to basically, find herself in the ways that she would have rather done back in those younger days, had, things not gone the way they went. So, I understand why a lot of people are going through this, which is what I'm trying to say. And that's what inspired me to share this posting here. Now, let me see. Let's read this. I have been trying hard enough to let go I think you meant to say of the past, and focus on the present. But then most of the time, anything I see would trigger my thoughts of past. I think you meant to say, your past, right? My past, right? And then I can't get over it for hours. Yeah, many people struggle with that, including my girlfriend, Dawn. I use her as an example because she shared her story. And that's called trauma. Many people deal with traumatic issues in their younger days, and they either don't get resolved or only get partially resolved. And then, that leads that particular person on their own to figure it out as they get older. And unresolved issues are going to make people question, certain things, regarding that as they get older, right? So I understand what this guy is going through here. I believe it's a man that wrote this. Basically, I'm in my early 30s. I did have a chance to do things in my teens and 20s that others usually do, but I didn't. Well, you basically chose to not, I guess, hang out with your friends and go through a drinking phase. Some people go through a drinking and smoking phase, party phase, right? Staying up late, etc., right? Maybe even, going through a bunch of jobs until you learn responsibility on how to keep a job and get your priorities straight, right? May it be making out with someone, going on nights out, even so, like just bunking a lecture or anything. I don't know what he meant by that, but I think he's saying like he missed out to make out with, I guess, I think it's a man, making out with a woman, staying up late, doing the fun party things that most teenagers and adults in their early to mid 20s do, or even through their 20s, right? Even so, just bunking a lecture or anything. Okay. Not sure what he meant by that. So we're going to just skip that. Was never on the same page as other people of my age. It kind of sounds you were a little socially awkward, or more than a little socially awkward. And you're trying to figure that out, which is good. And it's a good thing you posted and you're putting it out there, right? I was overly religious. Oh, okay. So no premarital sex, none of that, right? Yeah, that's in my opinion. It's just my opinion. I'm a God-loving Greek man, and yes, we have the same thing that the Catholics do. You're not allowed to fornicate before marriage, but typically everybody does, and even the priests know that nowadays. I've mentioned this before, I'll say it again. My brother, who's been divorced for quite some time now, but when he got married around 15 years ago or so, our priest at the Greek Orthodox Church knew that him and his fiance, girlfriend, were having premarital sex. And he just said, I know everyone's having premarital sex nowadays, but can we just not fornicate for the next 3 months until you get married, and that'll satisfy the church? And so they ended up complying with that. So, yeah, I mean, this is considered a structured belief system. And if you have too much of a structured belief system, it's going to affect you from connecting with other people and enjoying life in the way it was meant to be enjoyed, especially nowadays in the modern world. Kept away myself from the opposite gender. I don't think grammar is your specialty, but that's okay. I understand. Maybe you're from a different country. So basically, he didn't date. It sounds like a man. He didn't date women. He stayed away because of his religious beliefs, more than likely. Never, ever drank or smoked. He put drink or smoke, but he meant to say drank or smoke. Like I was saying, a second ago. People get that out of their system in their teens and 20s, right? No, nothing. Just my responsibilities and my commitments towards life were my priority. I was like that typical too good type of a person. We call that a goody-goody, right? We call that a goody-goody. I commend you for being a good person that wants to do everything right. I've always been like that myself. I kind of actually was a little bit like you in my younger days, with the exception I did go out with my friends and I did have girlfriends and I was making out with them and doing all that. But besides that, I totally get it. I've always been the type of person that's a law-abiding citizen, follows the speed limits, just follows the law. And I don't even ride lines or skate lines. I like to, be as compliant with the law and other aspects of life as much as possible. So let's see here. But now I hate myself. That's a pretty harsh thing to say about yourself. I don't think you hate yourself. I think you just don't like the life that you're living. That's a better way to put it. I hate me because even when I had a chance to do those things, I didn't. And now you want to do those things, and it's harder because you don't have the skills on how to talk to women. You didn't go through, the phase of asking women out in your younger days, getting rejected, and learning how to deal with it. So now it's like, I'm not sure. I don't think he mentioned his age. Oh, he's in his early 30s now. So he's saying in his teens and 20s. That's right. He mentioned that. He didn't learn those things, and now he's in his early 30s, a grown ass man, and basically has no experience to really understand what adulthood's all about. He didn't do all the things that would have prepared him for this in his younger days. And he's kind of beating himself up over it, and I can understand it. But it's not about even hating yourself. It's about, just not liking the way you're living your lifestyle, and you're regretting, like you said, I regret not doing things when I was young, because it's making it more difficult now to figure things out. And it's almost kind of like you have to start over in your early 30s and pretend like you're 18 or 19 years old, right? Or 20 years old, right? I hear you. It's a setback, but at least you're identifying it now and not in your 40s. So it's still not too late. Let's see. And now hearing other people about their anecdotes about what they did, about what they all did when they were in their teens makes me feel so alien. Well, you have nothing to relate to with those people because they've experienced everything you had a chance to experience. And now, instead of being able to relate with them, you're trying to figure it out for yourself, right? So hanging out with these people, you probably would have not much to talk about because they're way more experienced than you and the average person your age. So I get it. It gets worse when I realized I could do all that but didn't. Or you could have done all that but you didn't. I cursed myself for being such a boring being. I wouldn't quite say you're a boring being. You're a very cautious person, and you said you're very religious, and you had a structured belief system, and it kind of sounds like you're realizing that being too structured is not good. Yes, believe in God, have some structure, but also have some flexibility to take chances and experience life. You know what I mean? I don't know. I wish I was like others and just normal. No one's saying you're not normal. You're not abnormal. You're just inexperienced. This is the thing that people don't understand. They use these words because they're frustrated, they're depressed, they're upset that they had opportunities to experience the things that they now want to experience more so, but they're frustrated because now it's like they're starting over, and they don't have the experience to navigate life in the ways that most people have learned to do by the time they reach their early 30s, like the age where he's at right now. I try to compensate for it, but it's too late now. It's not too late, and you shouldn't try to compensate for it. You should start learning right now. Start asking women out. Okay, follow channels like mine, read more postings, learn how to be more social, right? And first, you got to learn to love yourself, okay? Get in the best shape possible by exercising regularly and eating right, eating healthy, exercising as well. Get some nice clothing, groom your hair. If you have a beard or, if you have facial hair, groom that, right? Shower regularly, wear cologne, wear deodorant, right? And just be happy regarding what you have. And start asking women out. And you're going to get rejected a lot. Even the best looking guys with the best personalities get rejected a lot. But keep trying, keep putting yourself out there, and eventually you're going to see things are going to start to pan out for you. I would still always have I would still always have that dent in my life of wasting my youth. Yeah, I think everyone's felt like that to a certain extent. I can understand how you more so feel like that because you basically shut out the world in your teens and your 20s because of your religious beliefs, and maybe you're focused on studies and you were focused on work, but now you're realizing being lonely sucks, right? And even friends you may have had back then, you can't relate to them because they've done way more than you. And maybe some of them are even married by now, and you're still trying to figure out how to get a date. I'm wondering, is this guy a virgin? I'm just wondering. Sabrina Garza, good morning, Eli. How are you doing? Doing quite well. I just noticed you here. There's a 1 minute delay between what I say and what goes out, but thank you so much for being here, Sabrina. I need to get over it, but I am not just able to size. Well, you'll get over it eventually. You have to keep working through it. And the best way to get over it is to keep talking about it with a group of people or someone like myself that loves talking about these aspects. And this is what I do. I'm a coach. I'm a business and personal life coach / success coach, right? The way you're going to get over it is by talking about it with people that are open to talk about it. Okay. Now, some of your friends from the past may be, maybe willing to talk with you about it once or twice, but at some point they're probably going to get tired of it, right? You need to surround yourself with a group of people that are open to talking about this with you all the time, that are going to motivate you, inspire you, and constantly tell you every single day, just keep pushing forward and eventually you will get there. It's going to take you a year or 2 or 3 or maybe even up to 5 years until your mid-30s to fully, get over it. But if you start now by associating with the right people, seek out channels like mine, keep on posting on Reddit, right? Another thing you can do is go to meetup.com or search the internet for support groups in your area, like emotional support groups. You can make friends so easily. There are so many people that are in a similar situation as you're in that are looking for other people like you. So together you can help each other work through this and even build some great friendships at the same time. He's like, size. 179 comments. Let's read a few comments here before we go to the next posting. You sound very similar to how I used to be. Meditation and therapy are ultimately what helped me change. Therapy is good. Yeah, if you want to get a psychiatrist or a therapist or both. On top of that, you should, join some online and in-person social groups. Like I said, go to meetup.com online, and there's a meetup group for everything. Okay. Maybe you do a search for social groups in your area. Maybe you type in socially awkward, and see if there's a group of people like that, are meeting and are looking to better, each other's lives together by, conglomerating in the group. So by conglomerating the group, I mean, every so often in the real world. This can't only be done just online. Yes, having, places like Reddit and doing it online is a start, but you got to get out there in the real world and join some groups. That's how it's really going to make a difference. And that's what made a big difference for me. Like in my 30s, I started running my own networking organization, and I started attending a lot of networking events because I became self-employed. And I miss those days. I miss those days of networking in person. Now most people are running their businesses online, but there's still some networking out there, and I'm probably going to start some back up very, very soon. But get yourself out there and just start to socialize with people in a group fashion, people that are there for, a similar thing. And you'll see how easily you'll make friends and it'll start turning around for you. I give the thoughts and feelings the time and space they deserve. Right. Then I get back to doing what I need to be doing now. That's all there is to it. It happened. I did what I did because of who I am. If I was a different person, I would have done it. I would have done differently. Everyone would have done it differently. If they could go back in time, if everyone could go back in time to their teens and 20s, as they've gotten older and learned more, everyone would go back in time and try to fix it. Different people, accelerate through life at different points. Some are able to figure it out sooner than others, but it is never, ever too late. It's a good thing that you're starting to recognize this now, and you want to make a change. That is great. I commend you for that. But what should I do now? And what should I do next? Let me get to it. Summary. Those thoughts and feelings are important. Make time and space for them. Then put them where they belong on the side and get to doing what you should do now. Well, but you're not telling them you're not giving them any advice. You sound like one of my therapists I had growing up that would just
say, well, tell me more, Elias, tell me more. I would ask him questions and he would say, well, what do you think about that? And it's like, no, he needs to go out there, search the internet. Meetup.com is a great website. It's been around for years. They have an app as well for your smartphone now, Android and iPhone. And you could find support groups in your area that will help you work through this. And you'll also connect with other like-minded people going through the same thing, and they will more than likely become your friend. Yeah. And then the original poster responds and says, thanks, I try, but I get too consumed by it lately. Well, you're overthinking it and you're frustrated. You're going through the grieving stage of the mistakes you made in your younger days, right? I've made similar mistakes, maybe not as bad, but, there are a lot of things that I used to regret that I didn't do in my teens and throughout my 20s. But when I got to my late 20s, early 30s, I really started to hold myself more accountable. I started to more so believe in personal development content and people that create personal development, right? I used to hate coaches. I used to hate even Tony Robbins. I used to, hate personal development. I thought it was a big scam until it changed my life. And since that point, I fell in love with Tony Robbins' work. I've even been to a Tony Robbins event. I paid $600 to go to a Tony Robbins event because that's how much I respect the guy. And I really, really learned to understand one thing. Personal development is the most important aspect of your life. What I do here is absolutely critical for everyone. It is. It absolutely is. I'll read a couple more here. I think this is normal, especially when it comes at you all at once like a tidal wave. The thoughts become overwhelming and it is easy to get lost in the waters. I spend a lot of time ruminating and thinking on what past did me or didn't do. That leads me to follow these trains of thought like you described. Yeah, it's kind of like almost like self-sabotage. Or, you're just, you're realizing that you've set yourself back according to where your friends are at. You want to be at the same level as your friends. And you're realizing that no matter what you do right now, it's going to take quite some time and a lot of work to get to the level of where your friends are at. But don't let that get you down. Start now and you'll get there. I'm not where I want to be just yet. But John Kabat-Zinn's book, Mindfulness for Beginners, has really shaped the way I think, being able to step out of those thought processes and focus on existing, focusing on the moment. It takes a lot of practice, but reading the book has been a great first step. Yeah, if that book works for you, never heard of it, but hey, maybe I'll look into it. But yeah, start following some life coaches on YouTube. Seek out personal development content. A psychiatrist or a therapist would help. Join some social groups through meetup.com in the real world in your area. Go to the actual events with actual people and actual speakers, right? You start doing all that, and I promise you, within a year or two, the first year will be kind of weird, and sometimes they may ask you to get up in the front of the room and give a speech or presentation. And public speaking, people fear that more than death, right? It's not easy. I had to get over the fear of public speaking as well. But I promise you, you'll get over that, and then you're going to want the stage all the time. After a year or two, all those butterflies and all those insecurities will go away, and people won't be able to get you to shut up, which is what I'm trying to say. So one more here before we go to the next posting here. Existential Kitten says, I actually did the exact opposite and became an addict for a long time. Sorry to hear about that. Now I'm angry at myself at almost 36 with no references, shit credit, and a lot of childhood and addiction decision-related issues to fix. But at least you're owning it now, and that's a good thing. But I'm still here. I've still got lots of time to figure out what I want for myself. Yeah, I mean, even at 36, it's not too late. It's never too late, honestly. But even at 36, if you're a man, you still have plenty of time. If you're a woman and you want kids, that biological clock is getting pretty narrow. But even then, you still have time even if you want kids. Okay? And a lot of childhood and addiction decision-related issues to fix, like I said. But I'm still here. I've still got lots of time to figure out what I want for myself. Yeah, absolutely. We're the same, they say. I need to find what I am missing, and you need to find what you're missing. Well, basically, you both need to find out what your purpose is. My purpose is to help people get the best possible grips on their lives so that way they can accomplish whatever their hearts desire, personally and professionally. And I do that by sharing my stories of my trials and tribulations. I share the stories of my mistakes and what I did to overcome those mistakes. So the both of you need to focus on finding a purpose of what makes you happy. What do you enjoy doing, right? What do you enjoy doing? And then see if, there's a job you can get related to your purpose, or if not, you can even start your own business as an entrepreneur, as a self-employed entrepreneur. There you go. We need to know ourselves. We need to experience things. So yeah, I don't think it is really too late to have the types of experiences 20-somethings have at what I think you said 30 or something. Yeah, he's in his early 30s. Go to a rave or something, LOL. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if a rave would be a good thing for him to go into cold turkey. I think what he first needs to do is get over, the social awkwardness. And to do that, I would definitely go to meetup.com and find a group, like a support group, emotional support group, or a friendship group, or you can type in socially awkward people, and see, if there's a group that helps socially awkward people on meetup.com or running it through meetup.com in your area. As for me, I may eventually go to a rave again, but right now I'm getting to know myself and my abilities. I'm healing. I'm glad to hear you're healing. Big round of applause. Absolutely. I mean, it sounds like, you went the opposite route. You had way too much fun. You were doing drugs and probably drinking, and, you probably, had a lot of unnecessary toxins in your body, and now you're detoxing. Maybe you've gone to rehab, yada, yada, yada. But at least it's a good thing that you recognized it and you started the healing process. You haven't gone into greater detail what you did. Maybe it's what I just said, rehab and all that. But that's good that you're healing. How can you heal? Have some fun. Put yourself out there a little more. Yeah, this is what I tell, guys and girls, or guys and gals. When you go through a breakup, a lot of people say sit around and give it some time before you put yourself out there again. I disagree with that. I would typically put myself out there fairly quickly. Maybe not, within the first week or two, but after a couple of weeks, I would put myself out there. And, you're going to go on some dates and maybe they'll work out. Maybe they won't. Most of them probably won't, but it'll get you back into the swing of things. At least you'll be getting out of the house and you'll be brushing up on your social skills. And who knows, you might get lucky and find that man or woman, within the first 2 weeks after breaking up with someone else. It's not usual. And I'm not saying to rush into it, but nowadays in this modern world, if you sit around because you think it's too soon after a breakup to put yourself out there, you're going to be moping. So instead of moping, put yourself back out there. Go have some fun. You don't have to get too serious. Still be honest with people, but you can even let them know, hey, I'm newly single. I'm just looking to kind of test the waters and see what happens. If you want to hang out, let's just hang out, right? No expectation, right? That's all you got to do. I agree. You said, put yourself out there a little more. One more big round of applause. Put yourself out there a little more. Or just put yourself out there, period. The part of the problem for most people in this situation is that you're not putting yourself out there at all. So how do you expect to better yourself and become happier or become happy if you're not happy if you don't put yourself out there? You got to put yourself out there. All right. That's the first posting there. We are at 40 minutes. Next posting here. This is from the subreddit r/social skills. And the original poster's title is, I want to get myself out there. How? Well, this can answer the other guy's question, right? You see how the topics relate there? The original poster writes in his brief posting, hi guys, I am a 27-year-old male. I wouldn't say I'm too bad at socializing, but I really do need to improve on my social life. Okay, I like how you said you're not too bad at socializing. You're being humble, and you're probably being honest. Yeah, you're being honest. But you want to become a better socializer. You want to, you want to learn how to better socialize with people, because who knows, maybe you want to go into a career where public speaking is important, like a politician, or, maybe you want to be a coach or something, and you have to give public speaking presentations. So this is good. This is good so far. I have one good friend, but the older we get, the harder it is for us to hang out all the time. And when I first read this earlier, before I went live, yeah, I understand that. We all go through a phase of where initially in your grammar school days, your preteen days, your teenage years, and throughout your early to mid 20s, you're spending a lot of time with your friends, right? But as you start getting into your late 20s, you start to notice that you're spending less time with your friends, and some friends will fizzle off, or you're still friends with these people, but you just haven't talked in years, right? And everyone talks about why that happens. They wonder why that happens, right? I used to wonder why that happened when it happened to me in my mid-20s to late 20s, right? By the time you hit your early 30s, yeah, everyone seems to be doing their own thing. Well, that's because your friends are finding the love of their life, right? They're getting into a solid career, and then, they found a good man or good woman to date and to marry, and then, some of them start having kids, and the level of their responsibility increases tenfold, which takes a lot more time, which pretty much takes up their entire time for the most part, and leaves very little time, to do the same things that you were doing with your friends in your teens and your early to mid 20s, right? That just happens. It doesn't mean you have to alienate your friends. But what happens is, you end up hanging out more so on special occasions like the Super Bowl, World Series, or maybe you have a poker night once a month or once every 3 months or so, right? That just happens. Life gets busy. When everyone gets settled into their own life as they get older, okay, especially if they find true love, they get married and start having kids, start having a family, that's their primary responsibility at that point. And unfortunately, it comes at the price of spending less time with the friends. So again, you say, I have one good friend, but the older we get, the harder it is for us to hang out all the time. You're both getting busier with life, your own personal lives. And it's not a selfish thing. It just is what it is. That's what happens. After doing some I think you meant to say thinking, I realized that having a social life is something that is really important to me. Well, yeah, you can have a social life. If your friend is not always around to hang out like he used to be, put yourself out there, and find a girlfriend, right? And what you're going to see happens, as you get, you're 27, you're at that stage where you're past 25, and this starts to happen. And you're gonna see that when you find a good woman and she really loves you and you love her, then she's got friends and you still have your friends. And sometimes her friends will be available to hang out. Sometimes your friends will be available to hang out. And if not, you can spend that time with your woman and take her away on a romantic weekend getaway trip, right? I think a lot of the issues men have in their 20s, like this guy, is that they're struggling to find that good woman that would occupy their free time. Trust me, when you find a good woman that loves you, you have no fucking free time. Like, I love Dawn to death. Dawn is cool. But, she occupies so much of my time. I never get bored. I never, ever get bored, and neither does Dawn. Dawn and I are like two peas in a pod. You just got to keep putting yourself out there until you find that person. And if you think that there's no one out there for you, when you least expect it, it'll come around. I did not expect this to happen with Dawn. I didn't expect it to happen, period. I was hoping it would. And when I least expected it, it happened. All right. Let's see here. I want to have a good group of friends and meet new people. Then put yourself out there. Get on some dating apps. Go on dates. Go to meetup.com like I was telling the other person to do in the previous posting, right? And join some social groups. Become a part of a group regarding something you like. And that group will have people that have similar interests. And there might be women there that are single that have similar interests, giving you a better chance of finding a great partner to date, which would cure your loneliness just like that. Now, you don't want to be overly dependent on your woman, at least initially. You don't want to come off too needy and stuff. But once you're with someone, Dom and I have been together 2.5 years. Like, the neediness has gone out the window. That doesn't even matter at that point anymore. You either love someone and love being with them, or you don't, right? And again, like, I hardly get to see my friends anymore because they're doing their thing and living their life. Some are married with kids, etc., right? Some have stressful jobs to the point of where they have very limited time doing that, and they're traveling. So, like, I'm not upset at that. When they come around, we'll hang out with them, and when they don't, Don and I will hang out together, and we live together. You got to find the right person. You got to put yourself out there and find the right person. It'll turn your life around. I have social avoidance, and it makes this difficult. Well, if you have social avoidance, that's probably because you are insecure about yourself regarding something. That may have to do with, maybe you're overweight. Maybe, you feel you don't dress, for success. You can turn that around. Like I always say, you can lose weight, go on a diet, lose weight, eat healthy, exercise more, exercise regularly, get some new clothing, wear deodorant, wear cologne. If you have a beard, have your beard professionally trimmed, and keep it professionally trimmed and clean. Keep your hair groomed. If you're losing your hair, shave your head like I do, bald, right? You got to make some effort. right? Because attraction is very important. You got to be able to attract people. And part of social avoidance is based off of insecurities about how you feel regarding yourself. You got to learn to love yourself. And if you don't love who you are right now, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and fix the things you don't love. And that'll change everything. I promise you. I promise you that'll change everything. Let me see here. I'd like to get tips on how to get myself out there. Any advice will be appreciated. Thank you. Well, I gave you all the advice as I went through this, which is what I usually do when I dissect something. I do a lot of commentary because I have a lot to say, and I've been through a lot of these similar situations. So there you go. Just put yourself out there. Join some meetup.com groups, regarding something that you enjoy. It could be a social group. It could be a group on art. It could be a group on pets. It can be a group on whatever. Do a search on meetup.com in your area. And when you join one of those groups regarding something you like, you're going to be hanging around in person with other people that have similar interests. That's all you got to do. That's it. It's pretty simple, right? But if it has to do, if you're avoiding people, if you're struggling with social avoidance, more than likely it's because, you're insecure about something regarding yourself. Like I said, it's probably, the way you appear physically. If that's the case, you can fix that. Get into better shape. And the rest, as I mentioned earlier, get some better clothing, right? Keep yourself groomed. Keep yourself smelling nice. Shower regularly. That's all. That's all you got to do. Let's read a few comments here before we get to the last posting here. C Programmer 3140 says, I want an answer to the same question. I have also have social avoidance. You mean to say you also have social avoidance and not bad at conversation? Well, your grammar is really horrible. I feel for you. You're probably illiterate or something. I'm so sorry to even say that, but I get what you're saying. But I don't have friends. Can't even keep them, as I won't want to meet up or have any social outing when invited. Well, maybe it has to do with your literacy issues. Maybe it has to do with your physical appearance. Okay, whatever it is, you got to get the help to learn to love yourself more, because until you do that, you're not going to want to put yourself out there. In this case here, C Programmer 3140, I would suggest seeing a therapist and or a psychologist, because they need to help you, work through the things I just said. There's just something here. There's just something here that's keeping you from putting yourself out there. Just the way you see yourself, your insecurities. Need More Power says, what's your job? Lavender Hage says, you need to find a group of people with a common interest. Big round of applause! I've been saying that all along. You need to find a common group. You need to find a group with common interests, Yeah, meetup.com. meetup.com. Unpaid endorsement. It's a great, great, great website, and they've had a great app for many years now. You need to find a group of people with a common interest as you and constantly interact. God, the grammar of these people it's just horrible. You need to find a group of people with common interests as you and constantly interact with them until you find people you click with. Right. Because you're not going to click with everyone, even people with common interests, but there's a better chance you'll click with some of them in that group setting. What are your hobbies? If you're religious, church is a pretty good way to make friends. If you like exercising, joining an exercise class or sports team would work. If you like volunteering, volunteering is a great way to help others and make friends. Just think about what you genuinely like to do and start doing them in a group setting. That's right. And I'm reading this in the proper grammar. The grammar I've seen today on Reddit is atrocious. Atrocious. That's why the U.S. is the most illiterate country on the planet. We need to really, really help people become more literate here. Wow. Because being more literate would actually help you better understand what you're going through. If you can't understand what you're even going through, then how are you going to be able to correct the issue, right? Or the issues, right? Saki BB Far Ok says, go to public places / parks for sunlight, join a gym, sports club, or travel. Sunlight is huge. You got to get your vitamin D through the sun. If you're not able to get vitamin D through the sun, I would suggest looking online. You can get them at Costco.com, the cheapest, by ordering them. Nature Made vitamin D3 5,000 IU supplement tablets, right? Now, during the winter, I take D3 whenever I can remember to take it. In the summertime, I don't really have to take it as much because I'm in the sun all the time. But in the winter, if there's not enough sun, take your D3. But yeah, besides needing vitamin D, just being in the sun and being in a bright setting, the sun makes people happy. When you're in darkness all the time or indoors, if you're already struggling with some of these things we've been talking about, it's going to make you feel more gloomy and miserable. So get out there. I agree with that. Join a gym, sports club, or travel. You'll meet new people, and it'll be easier to bond with them over people you already know but aren't close to them. Yeah. Meetup.com. Feeling Now says, go volunteer events, join a club, class, seminar, and go twice a week at the same time frame. Eventually, they will recognize you and will make a new friend by the end of the year. Yeah. If you keep going back to the same group, eventually people notice those people that are consistent. And then they want to get to know you. The reason why people typically won't approach you right away is because they see a lot of people come once or twice and then they're gone. People want to connect with people that are going to be consistent in these groups. So be consistent, okay? That doesn't mean you have to go to this group for the rest of your life, but, if you're going to go, you want to invest 6 months to a year, make some new friends, and then, hey, who knows? Maybe the organizers of the group might have you help them organize the group, and that'll teach you more skills on how to run events like this, and it'll make you feel like you're important. That's how I learned how to run events over 20 years ago. All right. Final posting here before we go off the air. We are at 58 minutes. This is from the subreddit relationships underscore advice. And the original poster's title is My Husband, 24 female. I hate how these people write this. My 24F husband, 32 male, right? So basically she's saying, I'm 24 years old and my husband, who's 32, feels he is physically not attracted to me anymore. Let me read that one more time. This 24-year-old young woman has a 32-year-old husband. Now, I'm not surprised at that. Do you see guys, or do you see ladies, that men in their early 30s are not looking to date or marry women in their 30s? They're looking to date and marry women in their early to mid 20s, or even, 26, 27, right? So, ladies, if you, shut out men while you're going to college and, getting settled into your career throughout your 20s, if you give up all of your 20s, you're going to have much more difficulty finding a good man, right? So yeah, this 24-year-old female is saying that her husband, who's 32, feels he is physically not attracted to me anymore. Let's find out why. Okay, let's find out why. So with birth control, I've gained about 30 pounds. I've heard women use this excuse so many times, and I guess I have heard there is a possibility that certain types of birth control with certain types of women can contribute to some weight gain, but not 30 pounds. Okay. So first of all, man, the fact that you've gained 30 pounds, yes, it's concerning. You're not extremely overweight, but you're downplaying it, which is the problem. You're saying, so with birth control, I've gained about 30 pounds. No, ma'am. You gained 30 pounds because you've been overeating. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to attack anyone. I'm just saying you don't gain 30 pounds by just taking birth control. You gain 30 pounds by overeating, right? So first of all, you got to own that. My husband said he is not physically attracted to me anymore. Well, here's the thing, man. Let me give you an example. If you were, let's say you're 5 feet tall, and your weight at 5 feet tall should be around 95 to 100 pounds, right? And if you're now 5 feet tall, 95 or 100 pounds, and now you're 5 feet tall, 130, 135, I mean, that's actually a pretty significant weight gain, especially for a shorter woman like that. Now, taller women can carry it better, right? But you're not giving us a full picture, how tall you are, what you weighed before, what you weigh now, right? And, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And, your husband married you for the way that you were when you got married, right? Or before you got married, right? And this also probably has to do with more than just weight. Maybe your attitude has changed since you gained weight because you're not loving what you see in the mirror. But you only have yourself to blame for that. Now you're birth control, right? We haven't had sex in months and he never wants to. Well, here's the thing. What we're not hearing here is conversations her husband may have had with her regarding his concern for her sudden weight gain for health reasons, right? And she probably was getting very emotional and snippy. And when that happens, men get really turned off. So let's say, before you married this woman, right? She's very fit with a great personality. Now she's gained 30 pounds. And on top of that, she has a shitty, overly emotional, depressed type of personality. That would turn off any man to not want to have sex with that woman. And on the flip side, for women, if their roles were reversed, they wouldn't want to have sex with a man if he was that way as well. It works both ways. Okay. He has his own issues that cause his libido to drop. Well, ma'am, being very out of shape can cause a man's libido to drop. They're not attracted to you at the same level. But I don't think it's your weight loss alone that is keeping them from having sex with you. I think it's also your attitude. Because, yeah, there are women nowadays 20, 30 pounds overweight. They're a little thicker, and, that's a little more, cushion for the pushing, right? And on the flip side, here's the thing, man. There are men out there. There are so many men out there that would have sex with you every night at your weight. You're choosing to be with this guy that, wants you to be at a more nominal weight level, right? And you should want to be at more of a nominal weight level because it's not just for physical attractiveness, it's for your physical health. That's more concerning. And if you want to have kids and you're already 30 pounds overweight, especially if you're shorter, that could increase the complication of pregnancy. So he's probably looking at it that way. And this guy's probably talked with you about this, but you probably shut him out, or you probably gotten really emotional. And he's like, okay, if you're not going to allow me to talk with you about what's bugging me, then you know what? It is what it is. It's not going to go anywhere. Of course, this hurt my feelings because I love unconditionally. I don't care if he gains weight or loses it. I still love him as he is. Well, I think you would care if he gained a lot of weight. If he gained 100 pounds, would you be as attracted to him as you are now? Right? You say that, but is that what it would be like? Right? And yes, if you do love someone truly, if you both truly love each other and you have weight fluctuation in your relationship or marriage, you should, there's still going to be love there, but you should more so talk to each other, hold each other accountable, and help each other get back into better shape. What I think is happening here is this guy has probably tried to talk with you, and you're not willing to listen. You're so unhappy that you gained that weight that you're blaming it on everyone but yourself. You're blaming it on birth control, and you're blaming it on your husband. Right? You're blaming it that you're blaming him that he doesn't accept you. Right? When he probably did, but he probably said, hey, let me help you get, back into shape so you can be more healthy, because if we're going to have kids, this is an unhealthy weight level to get pregnant at, right? Give me a second here. But my issue that's now in my head as I work out and try to be more healthy. Good. So you're working out and trying to be more healthy. That's a great start. Mind you, I'm young and not unattractive, but this hurt my confidence and brought up a lot of insecurity and abandonment issues. So there you go. There's your problem, man. If you have abandonment issues stemming back to your childhood from your parents or, other family members or other relationships or whatever, you got to work through that. And you should have worked through that before getting into a relationship with this guy and getting married to this guy. Sounds like to me, ma'am, that this is an issue in your head. And all of these things that your man is probably trying to help you with regarding, hey, let's get back into shape, blah, 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 right? All of that, even though he means well, is triggering your past trauma, your abandonment, and other things, right? You're relating it to that, and it's affecting you from communicating properly with him. If you were nice to him and say, hey, babe, I'm going to work out and get back into better shape, I'm not happy seeing myself this way, but I still love you, and I just need your support to help me get through this, If you were to do that, I bet you would probably have sex with you even at 30 pounds overweight. Okay. Let's see. My issue is that I don't know if I will ever want to have sex with him again. Oh, of course you do, ma'am. If you didn't, you wouldn't be out here posting about it on Reddit for the whole world to see, right? I think your issue is with yourself, not with him, or it's not about whether you want to have sex with him or not. Your issue is in your head, ma'am. You got to work through your past trauma, especially your abandonment issues. If any of that's unresolved, then you're not going to be able to function properly in any relationship or marriage, let alone be a fit mother, right? I am losing emotional connection, and I find myself distancing and getting more frustrated and short-tempered. That's why this guy's shutting you out, because he's probably tried. He's 32 years old. Let me tell you something. When I was in my early to mid-30s, all the women, see, when you're in your 20s it's harder to get the women in your 20s. It's harder to get a date. But when you hit your early 30s, early to mid 30s, and you become established as a man, all the women from age 20 to 27 or so, they all want you because you're established, but you're still young enough, close to their age. But you're not immature like guys their age. You're more mature than that, right? So this guy is 32 years old. And I can tell you, he could find, if he's half decent looking, has a decent job, and has good resources, which sounds like he does, this guy could find a ton of women around your age or even a little younger, maybe a little older, between 20 and 27. I think what you're fearing, ma'am, is the fact that, we live in a disposable world. And I'm not saying we dispose people, but, I see divorce right around the corner unless you're able to work through your trauma and, get into better shape and show your man that you're willing to do your part for this marriage. Excuse me. Give me a second here. All right. Sorry about that. I had to clear my throat there. Okay. Give me a second here. Let's see. I am not intimately, emotionally attracted to him anymore. Well, yeah, maybe. I think you still want him. I think you're saying that as an excuse. Okay. Because honestly, if you weren't feeling that and you tried to talk with him and couldn't get it resolved, then you would divorce him and leave. But here's another thing. Are you dependent on him? Is he 100% the breadwinner? Could you afford to move out on your own and live by yourself if you got divorced? Or is he the breadwinner and are you dependent on him financially? Do you have parents to fall back on if you both get divorced? It kind of sounds like you're sticking around here because you really have nowhere else to go. If you're dealing with childhood trauma, I'm assuming that probably came from your parents, and maybe that option of going back to your family for help or living with them for a while to get back on your feet, or you probably don't even have your own financial resources to do it. It sounds like to me you're dependent on this guy. And it kind of sounds like to me that you kind of feel stuck. And yeah, I mean, you have no one to blame but yourself for that. You put yourself in this position. You trusted this guy. If you're not working, that was your decision to not work or to get a degree, go to college, get a degree, like many women are getting, or go to trade school, or just, get a decent job and work your way up. And, if you started, a job by the time you were, 18, 19, you worked 4 or 5 years, you could be making really good money. It sounds like to me that you're lost on how to live life. Or maybe you got married too young. Maybe you started dating this guy too young. How long have you been with this guy? If you're married, you've probably been together at least 3 years. I'd say 2 to 3 years. So you started dating him at 20 or 21. There we go again. A lack of experience. Lack of experience. Some women are ready nowadays to get married at 24. Most women nowadays don't get married until 26 or 27, or sometime in their late 20s or even early 30s. Sounds like to me that you didn't experience enough and you didn't resolve all of your issues and trauma before getting into a relationship with this guy. That's it. That is it. Let's see here. Let me see. Will it ever come back with self-improvement? Does everyone go through this? I wouldn't say everyone goes through this, but a lot of people do go through what you're going through. And if you do improve yourself, it'll improve your marriage and it'll make your husband happier. It'll make you, first of all, it'll make you happier, which will make him happier. I think your husband is not sleeping with you because he's tired of you being depressed and miserable all the time and blaming everyone else besides yourself for it. You got to own up to, to your faults, correct them, and that'll fix everything. It can't come back if you start doing the right things and stick to them. And yes, many people do go through this. I feel like he doesn't deserve my body at its prime. Listen to how this woman's overcompensating now. She's 30 pounds overweight, which I'm not getting on her for that. But she goes, I feel like he doesn't deserve my body at its prime. So you're realizing you're in your prime, ma'am, at 24 years old, which you are. But your body's probably not in its prime, condition at 30 pounds overweight, ma'am. If he can't handle a little extra weight, ma'am, that's 30 pounds. We don't know how tall you are. If you're 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", and you're 30 pounds overweight, that's different than being 5 feet tall or under 5 feet tall and being 30 pounds overweight, ma'am. We don't know. How can I even have a baby with this man without feeling unattractive? Please help. Thank you. Ma'am, you're being very selfish. And you're being, you're basically blaming everyone but yourself for your own issues. You're not owning up to your own issues, ma'am. That's the bottom line. I really don't have much more to say about this. I mean, I can go on and on and on saying, ma'am, come on. Do you feel entitled to all this stuff? Do you feel like you can show up any way you want and every man should cater to you and bask in your glory? That's enough said. Let's read a few comments here. Correct Sprinkles 21 says, definitely don't have a baby with him. If he's this shallow now, imagine his response when you have the stretch marks and other permanent changes. Will it ever come back with self-improvement? Well, here's the thing. He's not being shallow at all. We don't even know what he's saying because she's not saying directly what he's saying. And she's not owning up to any of her stuff. He's not being shallow. He probably tried to talk with her and say, hey, babe, I noticed you're gaining some weight. And, we want to have kids. I want you to be healthy. You want me to help you get back into shape or something? And it probably triggered her based on her past trauma. He's not being shallow one bit. If this guy was being shallow, I would say it. I would definitely say it. AZ Prod, how you doing, bro? Welcome to the show. Going to be going off the air really soon. Will it ever come back with self-improvement on your part or his? If you lose weight, do you think you'll be able to trust him with the kind of vulnerability sex requires? I think you folks are overthinking this. Okay? If he was 30, 60, 100 pounds overweight, would she still be as sexually attracted to him as she's been at his regular weight level? Ladies, you don't get special privileges in this modern world, of having equal rights. Equal rights do not mean special privileges. Now, there are way more beta males nowadays that will accept the woman at any weight. And if you don't like it, if you're not happy with this guy, divorce him and then go date some beta male that will accept you at any weight. But you won't date the beta male because you don't trust his masculine core for being beta, right? So the men that will give you attention and be with you at any weight level you don't want. But you want to be with the man that is basically trying to say, hey, babe, I see that you're gaining some weight and, I'm concerned about your health. And I'm concerned about, the future of our kids and you being healthy enough to have kids. Nothing wrong with that. Doesn't make him shallow. But when he probably approached you in that way, it probably triggered you because of your past trauma. And he probably stopped sleeping with you, not because you gained 30 pounds, but because of your attitude. If he changes his attitude, do you think you'll be able to trust him with the kind of vulnerability sex requires? Does everyone go through this? Nope. Men are not all so narrow and rigid in their ideas of what beauty is. I just said that, but the bottom line is the men that will accept her weight level are not men she wants to be with because they're beta. Why won't you ladies be honest about this? Alert the Siren, the original poster. Thank you so much. This helps a lot. Well, you're not getting the right info if you're listening to that. That's the problem. You're not going to change because you're talking with women that are in a similar situation and have similar abandonment issues and other traumatic issues that are unresolved that are affecting them from functioning properly like yourself. Beneficial Cut says, personally, I think you should leave him now because he's so shallow that he will only get worse, and next he will cheat on you because of his ways. I'm sure he's thinking of leaving her, right? I think he wants her to leave him because he doesn't want to hurt her. These women have this all wrong. They have it all wrong here. Let's read some more reasonable comments before we go off the air. Are you sure, Tiny Hermoine says, are you sure that he's not blaming his other sexual issues on your weight gain because that's less embarrassing for him? That's a possibility. And it could be him saying, babe, if we're going to start having kids in the next year or two, it's not safe for you to get pregnant at this level. And again, if he's not sleeping with her anymore, yeah, part of it might be the weight gain, but most of it's probably her attitude. Leave him for fuck's sake. And then the original poster gets back and says it's not that easy. Yeah, because you need him for financial support. There you go. So you should be happy this guy's still supporting you, even without having sex. And there's probably a lot more. This guy's 32 years old. She's 24. He has a lot more experience than her. And he's probably trying to do the right thing, right? He's probably tried to help her out, but she probably gets in his face, gets loud, screams, gets emotional, has temper tantrums, right? Puffy Gator says, no, it is not that easy, but there's a major crack in your foundation. You will thank yourself for moving on. I think they both need to part ways and move on, in my opinion. I think she's wrong, more so wrong than him. And I think he's just trying to be nice and, just sit back and wait for her to leave him. He doesn't want to hurt her, it sounds like to me, because I'll tell you this. If I was in that situation, I wouldn't stick around. I would not. I would file for divorce or I would get out of that relationship. Canada's Neighbor says, it is easier to stay with someone who never wants to have sex with you because they think you're ugly. Like, how the fuck is that going to work long term? I don't think he thinks she's ugly. She's basically only sharing her side of the story. I think he's concerned about the amount of weight she's gained and probably what she did to gain it. She said it's due to birth control. No, it's bullshit. It sounds like this woman has not learned to accept responsibility, and that's probably what else is turning him. That's probably the other thing that's turning him off. She hasn't learned to accept responsibility, and if he wants to have a family, he's thinking, is this the right woman? Do I want to have a family with an irresponsible woman where it could possibly lead our kids to have a broken household? It only gets harder down the line, sure. All these women are basically taking their side. Now, last comment here. It's a man. This is a great comment. This is the best comment here. Man Sink Club. I lack the full context to judge his character based on a single comment. Big round of applause. I lack the full context to judge his character based on a single comment. I've been saying that all along. It's great to hear a guy that's being reasonable in the comments section, that's not riddled by his emotions and thinking logically about this situation. While his approach could have been more tactful, we don't know his approach. She's not really even talking about it. She's whining. Consider this. Would you prefer a dishonest excuse like him having a headache? Or would you prefer the truth? So you have the option to address it. Big round of applause. This has to do with, at a normal biological level, women reacting to everything emotionally based on how they're feeling in the present moment, right? It also has to do with her mentioning she has past trauma and it's unresolved. Unresolved past trauma. In answer to, do others experience this? The answer is yes. I had a similar experience where an ex told me that I looked thinner on my Tinder profile. At the time, I was devastated, but then I thought and I realized the reason it hurt me so much is because I knew it was true. Big round of applause. Man Stink Club. Oh, sorry, Man Stink Club, not Stink. Man Stink Club. You're my favorite Redditor now. This is the best comment I've ever seen all time on Reddit. And I'm not just saying that because it's a man. This man is being very reasonable here. Very reasonable. He's saying, yeah, the reason why it made me mad when someone called me out that I, was basically catfishing them on Tinder is because I was catfishing them. If you can't own up to your own shit, then no one's going to respect you or want to be with you, let alone have sex with you. Come on. You acknowledge the weight gain yourself in your post. Is that something you had thought about changing before he said it? If yes, then this could be the motivation you needed to make a positive change. Big round of applause. I can applaud this post or this comment here forever. Best comment ever on Reddit right here. Sorry, best comment on Reddit right here ever. Sorry, I didn't lower the volume of the applause while I was speaking. It was drowning out my voice. If you opt to stay, communicate your feelings openly. Yeah, ma'am, you're not communicating your feelings openly. You're whining and complaining. That's what you're doing. You're whining and complaining like a female dog. And men don't like that. No man likes that. I don't like that. And I'm a good dude, right? Right? Don't whine and complain like a female dog. Okay? You have respectful, mature conversations. It kind of sounds like to me, man, you're immature and you have a lot of insecurities and you haven't grown up yet. Okay? And you're irresponsible. Right? That's what it sounds like to me, based on what you said. That way he can learn how to raise delicate matters like this more tactfully in the future. Well, with some women, it doesn't matter how tactful you are. Or with all women, at times it doesn't matter. Like, I love my girlfriend Dawn. Dawn's amazing. There are things I need to tell her sometimes that I know are going to hurt her feelings. And I can come across it as the nicest guy on the planet. Babe, I'm going to forewarn you. You may not like what I say. I love you. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. You could preface, for an hour, right? And then the moment you tell them, they start to rip your fucking head off, right? I'm saying figuratively. Now, some women will actually rip your head off, but not my woman, She gets emotional, right? It doesn't matter how tactful you are communicating with women. Some things are just going to hurt certain women because they're not as mature, or they're traumatized, or they're dealing with other issues that are preventing them from acting respectfully, maturely, and professionally. Have a kiss and cuddle and move past it. Science shows that women are significantly more socially adept than us men. He likely didn't think it through fully before speaking. Unless I'm missing something here, it seems sad to throw a relationship away over a stupid remark that he probably regrets saying. Best of luck. No, this all boils down to her attitude. If she were to say, go to him tonight or later today and say, babe, I'm really, really sorry. My attitude's been really shitty. I don't like the fact that I've gained weight. But you know what? I'm going to do something about it. I love you. I love what we have. I don't want to lose that. And I want to have kids with you. And I want to do it safely. If this woman were to own up her shit, this dude would respect her and probably fuck the shit out of her that moment, even while she's 30 pounds overweight. There you go. There's your answer. Back to full screen. Charles Boyd, I think you're trolling, but anyway, I've been married for 7 years and my wife put on 50 pounds. It is not fair. Well, it's your choice to address it or not, man. It's not healthy to be 50 pounds overweight, but if she, isn't willing to exercise and eat better and exercise more, right? Then, that's her giving up on the relationship, right? And you got to talk with her about it, no matter how hard it is. If you continue to enable that behavior, then that's on you, right? Anyway, time to get going, folks. We are at 1 hour and 31 minutes, almost 1 hour and 32 minutes. I'll be back later this afternoon. For another show on Coach Eli 2 Authentic Live Streams, Walking with Purpose stream around 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Before we go, Charles says, I told my wife the truth about her weight. Huge mistake. She asked if I still thought she was hot. She went from smoking hot at 110 pounds to disgusting at 160. Now we barely do it. Well, the reason why she gained all that weight, there's something either lacking in your marriage. Maybe you weren't paying attention to her besides sex. Maybe you weren't dating and courting her enough. I don't know. Women don't gain 50 pounds overnight. It happens over the course of time. And something is lacking either within your marriage or between her, or a lack of communication for her to do that. Or maybe you folks would go out to dinner all the time and eat very heavy types of foods like carbs and stuff and desserts and all that, and you weren't exercising. I mean, you got to sit down and figure it out. But yeah, if she's, saying that, okay, I'm now 160, love me at 160. I'm not saying you don't love her anymore, but you got to talk with her about it. And if she reacts to it and is not willing to talk with you about it, then, it's not even worth it anymore, man. At some point, you may have to go through divorce. If she doesn't care about her health, dude, why would you want to be with her? That's all I got to say. With that being said, have a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other. Whoops. One more time. Too soon. There we go. We're out of here.